What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journals, Comics, and Pop Culture. As you guys can see in the title of this video, I said I would be talking about 3 key elements to how to collect comics. But guys, I kind of lied. I apologize. We're only going to be talking about 1. Now, there's a lot of variables that, connect with the one big thing. But it's just 1, guys, and it's that simple. So before I get into explaining what this 1 key element is, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take some time to do so. We are on the road to 3,000. My goal is to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of October, and then I'm going to have a huge amount of announcements, and we're also going to be doing a really big 3,000 subscriber contest. I'm so excited about that. So subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Spread the word. Tell your friends. But let's go. Let's get into this. So, all right, guys. Many people will probably tell you different things. What are the key invaluable elements to how you should be collecting comics, right? And for a lot of you that watch my channel, you probably know that I talk about a lot of different things that can pertain to this that sometimes tend to be controversial. And I always talk about how there is no wrong or right way to collect comics. There's so many different ways that, so many different elements that can bring people into the hobby. You know, when you talk about, oh, well, I want to come into the hobby to speculate and flip books, or I want to come into the hobby just because I love reading about comics. Maybe I was introduced from the movies. Maybe I just like the art, variant covers, all these different things. Those are all valid variables of why one can get into the hobby. But there's only one key element to what makes a successful collector. And that one thing is loving how you collect. It's that simple, guys. I've talked about this before. You cannot collect comics. You cannot enjoy the hobby in whatever way unless you love how you collect. Let me give you guys some examples. I myself collect for many different reasons. And I believe that a lot of us that are in the hobby have more than one reason for why they collect too. But whatever reason that may be, if you don't love it, then you're doing it wrong. Okay? If I enjoy reading stories, right? I should focus on finding the stories that I enjoy to read. Therefore, I am finding that love within the hobby. If I'm in the hobby because I want to speculate on books and flip books for whatever reason, as long as you love doing it, I can't argue with that. And this goes back to my argument about how it's deflating that we are here in 2020, almost 2021 already. And we still have to have the argument. We still have the finger pointing of this is ruining the hobby. That's ruining the hobby. I can't stand these people. I can't stand those people. I can't stand people that do this. I can't stand people that do that. Now, do we have the freedom to be able to critique different elements of the hobby? Sure, fine. That's healthy. But when we do it in a way that, first off, undermines how other people collect, just because it's not how you collect, then it's bad for the hobby. That's what's bad for the hobby. Okay, so let me give you an example. Speculators. If you are somebody that collects books and you enjoy the value that these books can bring you, when we're talking about monetary value, but you miss out on a book, and then you complain to say, I can't stand speculators these days. They go to the LCSs to buy 5 to 10 copies just so they can flip them. And, I just want them to read. And I talk about this all the time, and I've called it out. And look, I may get some hate about it, even saying it here, but I really feel that the majority of people that sit here and say, I missed out on this book, and I'm mad now because now a cover price book that's only a few weeks old is going for $20 to $30. Shame on speculators. You're just mad because you didn't pick it up when you had the opportunity, and it's that fear of missing out. So this goes back to enjoying what you do and focusing on you. If you really enjoy, 1, picking the books up because you enjoy the character and you enjoy the stories, right? So if you enjoy Thor, you're going to be putting Thor on your pull list. You're going to be ordering them through previews where you get 35% off cover price. You're going to be probably reading up on the previews mags to see what's coming in all the Thor books, right? That way, you have already pre-ordered or had your book set aside, like a Thor #5, before it gets hot, where you're still paying either $3.99 cover price or you're getting that 35% pre-order discount. And then, after it releases and it starts taking off, you're good. And you're good in the sense that you don't care that it's taken off or not, but you're just happy that you have the book to complete your run and that you can read because you enjoy collecting and reading Thor. Now, if you are all of those things, you still love Thor, you still love the character and collecting the character, and you love to read the character, and you miss out on Thor #5, because for some reason, hey, look, just say something happened, which I have a small wiggle room for excuses, but I mean, say your LCS owner forgot to put it in your bin. I mean, that's on him, and I would fight my LCS owner and say, hey, I don't care if it costs $20 now, you're getting me one, and I'm paying cover price because that was on you. That's your mistake. Anyways, besides the point. If you miss out, though, and you take to social media, YouTube, Facebook, whatever it may be, and you take to a community and point a finger at someone, you could be upset that you didn't get the book, but to point a finger at someone to say it's your fault that I didn't get the book, that is where it becomes divisive and negative. And honestly, you could be like, oh, darn it, I missed that one, but you could still pay the $3.99 to purchase it digitally. You can still wait for the trade paperback if you just want to read the book. And you can wait for a second print if that's the case. So if you're just simply in it to read the story, there's other avenues where you can make that happen, and there should be no complaint. The only time we should be upset on missing out is if we are truly in it to speculate on the books for investment reasons. And look, again, there's nothing wrong with that. If you are somebody that likes to be on top of books and you have the fear of missing out and you want to be able to get those books before they get hot, okay? That's part of how I collect. That's part of one way that I collect. Although I don't plan on selling my books, I do collect for that monetary value. I do want to try to get hot books. But if I miss out, I miss out. So let me give you an example. When Rebirth started happening with DC, I was buying every copy. It was crazy. It was crazy. I went too crazy with it. I stopped my Teen Titans run at like issue 10. I said, I'm good. I'll save a little money and just stop going with this title. Guess what came out? 2 months later, Teen Titans 12, first appearance of Batman at Last. That's what, a $200 to $300 book now. And I'm shooting myself in the foot. I'm like, man, stupid. Why didn't I keep it on for a couple more months? So I could be upset at myself, but it's no one else's fault. I'm not going to be like stupid speculators. It's like, I missed out on the book and now it's out of my price range. So it's like speculators are ruining the hobby. No. And that's what I'm talking about, guys. We have to just admit it. Look, admit that you're mad because you missed out on a book that's now worth more and you don't have it to have a valuable book in your collection or to flip or to sell or whatnot. If you miss out on something and the price of that something starts increasing, it's nobody's fault but your own. So again, what makes a good collector? What's the key element in collecting? Loving what you do and how you collect. A lot of people just collect trade paperbacks and graphic novels. And they love that because that's how they love to read the books and they're not really into single issues. Some people absolutely love variants and they don't mind breaking their bank. They don't mind paying $20, $30, $40, $50 for these unknown and KRS or exclusives and these J. Scott Campbell exclusives or these 1 in 25 variants. They don't mind breaking the bank. Now, let them do that. And if there's a market for it, it's not hurting you. And look, if any subgenre market ends up, say, dying off. So say those people that buy variants, and whether they buy them because they're speculating on them or they're just a lover of variants. Say that starts dying out. Say people get burnt out on it. Once that happens, what's going to happen to the value of this book, or, to the value of some modern newer books, whatever? You know what's going to happen, guys? Nothing. Nothing. If you never collected variants in the first place, meaning you weren't one that spent $20 to $50 to $100 on a variant, nothing is going to happen if there's a variant burnout. What's going to happen is people are going to, the publishers are going to realize and adapt to the market trends, and they're going to start marketing something new. It's that simple. Now, those people that bought all those variants, if they were concerned about the value only, then they might have even more burnout because their books that they're sitting on might lose value. But that's the risk that you're taking. That's the risk that you're taking buying into the variant. So this goes back to doing what you love. And I always talk about the risk. There's a risk in doing what you love if it's to speculate. If you love the hobby because you love speculating and you love trying to find books that can increase in value and monetary value, then you have to love it regardless. And guys, I probably have said this 5 times over the last few weeks, but I'm going to say it again. It's a gamble. It's just like going to Las Vegas into a casino, knowing you have so much money in your pocket. You're going for the experience. You're going to enjoy yourself. And if you lose all that money and you come out of the casino with nothing in your pocket, you better be content. That's where it becomes wrong. That's where it becomes you're doing yourself an injustice because you're not loving what you're doing. If you're going to be a speculator, even if you collect for other different reasons and speculative reasons, you can collect because you like reading and collecting runs and enjoying the art, but you also collect because you like to speculate. But that aspect of why you collect, right? If you aren't content with taking the risk of either gaining money or losing money, you shouldn't be doing it. Because the bottom line is if it's something that you end up losing money on, it's no one's fault but your own. And it doesn't mean that anybody else is ruining the hobby whatsoever. So, I'm going to tell you guys one last thing here. And I've said this before about how healthy the hobby is right now. Okay? And I'm going to talk about this for just a few minutes before I wrap up. The hobby is extremely healthy right now. And a big element of that is the MCU. It's how a lot of these independent, your Image and Boom titles becoming feature films and getting their own TV series and being extremely successful. And obviously, DC has their films too. The multimedia that's out there right now is bringing more young collectors in and just new collectors of all ages. I can't stand when people say, oh, it's not the same. It's just all movie hype now. So what? So what? It's not hurting you. If people go and watch a movie and they see there's some awesome superheroes on screen and they start loving these superheroes and they want to take it over and find them in the comic books, let them. It's all healthy for the hobby. And some people will come and say, well, LCS stores are closing left and right, this and that. They have to have card games and Magic and all these different things to support the brick and mortar businesses. Look, this is a tough, sad state, but that's the evolution of the economics right now, not just comic books. Brick and mortars are hurting in every industry, and it's just because of technological evolution, guys. More people are shopping on Amazon, eBay, Facebook marketplaces and stuff like that. And not because of the fact that we don't want to frequent our LCS locations, but just because there's a convenience there and the technology allows us to. So what I'm trying to say is sometimes when things evolve, things look negative. But when you talk about the industry in itself, it's healthy. Unfortunately, LCS locations and store owners just have to adapt. You know, it's just like what's going on with DC, and Marvel's doing it too, with them streamlining their titles and their staff. People are losing jobs, and titles of books are getting canceled, but it's quality over quantity, and we're streamlining a more profitable business model for the future. And that's what's going on, guys. So again, basically what I'm trying to say here is the two things. Obviously, you gotta love why you're in the hobby and stick to it. As long as you do that and let the next man love, or woman, man or woman, love how they're in the hobby and why they're in the hobby, you let them do that. And the hobby will continue to be successful, and you cannot point fingers and get upset at anybody else for doing what they're doing. Okay? I've said before, I think a lot of these things are crazy. Like, I can't believe people send books that are like $2 or $3 books, and they spend $30 to send them to CGC just hoping to get a 9.8, or people spending hundreds of dollars on a variant cover. I think it's crazy, but look, it's cool. It's good for them if that's what they want to do, and I will never knock them for doing so. So, what is the main ingredient? What is the key element to not only keep the industry and the hobby healthy and on its feet, but also to keep you happy and enjoying who you are as a collector? And that's loving how you collect, no matter how you collect. And it's that simple, people. So guys, that is my video today, and a little bit of helpful advice that I can give to all you guys. Because look, at the end of the day, for me, I'm about every aspect of this hobby. I like to use sports analogies a lot, but look at baseball. You know, there's 9 positions that people play at once. Just because you like playing catcher doesn't mean you need to hate on the outfielder. I hope that makes sense. Just because you like to collect Silver Age books doesn't mean you should hate on the next person collecting modern. Just because you would never spend a dime on variants doesn't mean you should mock the next person that does enjoy that. That's my take, guys. So, thank you guys for watching. Please take some time to subscribe. Leave some comments below. Let me know your thoughts. Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. And until next time.